Hey everyone. Happy Wednesday. How are you? I hope you are well. I'm so glad to see all of you and I'm so excited for this wonderful show we have tonight. And let me see, am I on camera over here? Yes, I am. Hey there Instagram. Hello there YouTube. Hello there Facebook. Now, no, you guys, I say this every week, but I really want you to know in Instagram, I can't wave at you because my camera's way over here. And I don't want to press on it and keep coming back and forth to say hello. So know that I'm waving from you, waving to you from my heart and from my soul. Hey there, Annette. Hey there, everyone. I'm so glad to see you here tonight. How you doing? Welcome to The Vision is Possible. I'm so glad to have you here. Now, you know how we have been starting the show lately, and I have to still continue to do that, and that is to send blessing and prayers to all of those involved in this ridiculous conflict that is going on right now, that is hurting so many people across the water and here at home. My heart breaks for what we are going through. My heart breaks every time I go to the gas station. But that's things. What my heart breaks for mostly is for people. So, though on the Vision is Possible, we're going to still talk about joy and love and the power of making our dreams come true because they still can. I do want to put out love and prayers and condolences to all of those who are involved in this conflict. All right, so welcome to Wednesdays. I'm so glad you're here. I have another compilation show. You know, it seems like I'm doing it like once a month or once every 6 or so weeks because I have been blessed with some fantastic guests. And what I am finding as I go through the videos and you know I'm posting little 60 seconds to 2 minutes or even up to 3 minutes of wonderful things that my guests have said. What is blowing my mind is that there's more information for us to get. There's still more in those shows that I want to share. So 3 people have come into my consciousness for this week. Siri Sat Nam, a yogi. He was once a dancer and is now an incredible therapist. Wendy Hammers, who is a comedian, a producer, and she is also, my baby, a cancer survivor. And Stephen Adams, my wonderful manager, as well as producer, and sometimes, ooh, piece of hair, and sometimes my co-host. And I watch their shows, and there are certain things they said that I want to share with you. Because, see, this past week on Friday, no, sorry, on Saturday, it was my birthday. I was another year old. And I love my birthday. Let me tell you, my parents have really, they've taught us how to celebrate our birthdays, but not just for celebrating ourselves, but to celebrate the people who are in our lives, the people who make us stronger, who make us better people, who keep me going, who keep me supportive. And then those who I don't see, who are you? Who keep me coming every Wednesday, who keep me thinking of new shows to create for you, new guests who are sending me emails who want to be on The Vision as Possible. Woo, hallelujah. How wonderful is that? And this birthday was no different because this is the last year of a decade. And if you really want to know how old I am, honey, you can Google me. But birthdays to me are very special for that reason. It's also one of those celebrations where family gets together and they share food and they share libation and they share laughter. And my family is particularly a laughing, foolish family. Oh my God, we had such a good time. We went to a lovely Mexican restaurant. I love Mexican food. Mexican, Indian, and Japanese food are my favorite. Oh, don't let me forget soul food. So we went to this wonderful Mexican restaurant and then spent time on the beach. And it was a glorious day. And then while I was there, I thought of my years and where I am right now in my life. And it made me think of these three people. So to start off our show, I want to share something with you that Stephen shared with us. I think you might find it quite apropos.
Someone said this once that when you look back at your life, everything sort of dovetails together and it all makes sense because one thing led to another. And I guess everything does work that way, but I didn't experience it that way.
Okay, so that's starting us off. One thing leads to another, but he's talking about he doesn't experience it that way in the moment. Ha! I so get that. Makes me think of love. Oh, my poor little heart has been broken. Oh, I have loved men. I've wanted to be in relationships with them, and for one reason or another, it didn't work out. And baby, I'm here to tell you, I am so glad it did not work out. But I didn't have the wisdom at the time to see what it was that was good for me. I didn't have the wisdom at the time to see that that job that I wanted was not for me. And I was actually protected in not working with that production or those people, or just because if I had been hired on that job, another one that was waiting for me that was bigger, better, and was one that was more suited for me and one that I would love more was right around the corner. And if I had that job, I wouldn't have been able to do this job. So life, we get so emotional when things don't go right in life. We start cursing and fussing and calling our friends and telling them blah, 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 and groveling and anger and grr. And I really believe this. And I'm telling you, this is years of learning. If shit don't work out, it is okay. If you want to get upset for a moment, do that and then let it go, baby. Because I promise you that something better is right around the corner if it's not the next phone call. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. And I know I've told this story before, but you may not have heard it. So years ago, oh my God, how many years really was that? Over 20 years ago. I was working actress, working voiceover talent. I just moved back to LA. Oh my God, it's more than 20. It's about 30 years ago. I just moved back to LA from New York. And I'd been auditioning and working. I was cooking. Well, there were 2 months where things weren't going so good. I wasn't auditioning. That had never happened to me before. I was always at least auditioning. And to me, auditioning is work because you know that is your work. That is your job, baby. And I'm booking. Well, I'd had 2 bad months. Well, during these 2 months, I went to see a friend at a small club on 3rd Street in Los Angeles. And they were a dinner theater and they had a lot of one-person shows. And so the owner of the club and I start talking, and I said, I've got a one-woman show. I didn't have one-woman show one. But I said, yes, I've got a one-woman show, and I'd love to bring it here one day. He said, we'd love to have you. I said, fabulous. He said, can I have your number? I said, absolutely. I gave him my number. So remember, I'm in this 2 months of not working. Well, about a week or two later, I am literally on my kitchen floor, pre-Viola Davis, nose running, tears falling. I'm just on the linoleum crying. I'm like, what is going on? What's happening? Well, the phone rings. Hello. Hi, Iona. This is so and so from Club blah blah. Yeah, yes. Now, in fact, I didn't say hello. I said hello. I had to hide my feelings. I didn't know who it was. And this is way pre cell phones. And he says to me, we have an opening next month for someone to come and do the one woman show. And we were very interested in you coming to do your show. And I said, I'm so sorry, I'm busy. I'm not going to be able to do it. He said, well, if if something comes up at a later date, please let us know. I said, okay. And I hung up. Baby, it didn't take but a second for Spirit to say to me, Iona, you are crying on the floor, writhing in pain because you aren't being creative. We just sent you an opportunity to do your thing. And you said no? So I called the gentleman back after I wiped my funky tears and blew my nose. I said, yes, I do have a one woman show, and I can be available in 2 months. I'll be in town. I can do the show then. He said, perfect. Well, let me tell you, that gave me 2 months to create my show. 2 months later, I was on the stage with two musicians who were my music underneath, and I did my show, and it changed my life. When you ask for something, it's going to come to you. You don't know how it's going to come to you, but it will come. Now, I'm sure if I think about it, I probably thought that it was going to come to me through my agents. Oh, Iona, you booked something. Oh, Iona, you've got an audition for a series. Or Iona, you've got an audition to guest star. My camera is all crooked. I'm sorry. You've got an audition to guest star on a show. Blah blah blah. Network show. Blah 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 blah. It came to me through a man calling me to book me at a small club. You know I get emotional. I did that show, and it changed my life because eventually I started directing one person shows, and I set up a nice little niche for myself to do that. And then I started traveling with my one woman show, and I created several of them. So, see, it's it's about asking for what you want and let the tears stay away. I'm sure I didn't need to cry and all of that in order for that phone call to come. But because I was so upset, I couldn't receive the phone call initially. That's what I'm trying to say. Jerry, take a moment, get upset about something not working out, and let it go, baby. Start doing the work. Start moving through your life. Start learning more. Start creating. Start being busy about the business of you, and watch what happens. That leads me to Siri Sat Nam Singh. Siri Sat Nam Singh, who I told you is a yogi, and then went back to school to get his PhD as a therapist. He's amazing. Something Siri shares with us about the heart and the mind. He's quite effective in what he has to say. Check him out. Oh, I have to locate the file. I can't believe this, you guys. You know what? Go with me. Go with me. We're going to locate the file, okay? Let's just locate the file and let's find it because I really want you to see this. Doggone it. I spent all this time on this friggin'. I never want you to see behind what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it for you this time.
I think Descartes did a terrible thing that we surrendered to. I think, therefore I am, which
Mm,
has exiled the heart. So
mm,
it's exiled the heart. And so if you don't heart, you can live brain dead, but you can't live without your heart. This is the key right here. This tells us who we are, how we are, where our passions are, what we want to do, all of that. This thing on our shoulders, which we give so much validation to, is not the complete story.
mm,
It's half the story. This is the real story. And we're not taught to honor that and value that. So people have jobs
mm,
they don't enjoy. People do what their parents want them to do and yet don't honor themselves. That's where misery comes in, a disconnection from the self when
mm,
you're not able to connect with your heart. And it's so interesting. I have many clients I've started working with, and I'll bring forth that concept, and they'll say, I don't know how to get into my heart. And I just realize it's something we're not taught. And so when you trust this, you have no doubt. It's no doubt. If we are able to surrender to that concept that the heart knows, The heart knows,
Mm.
not this thing on our head, which we in our civilization is all about mental, learning facts, getting data, knowing the research. Okay, good, valid. But if we come to understand ourselves and what's right for us, we got to go here because often it's illogical.
Mm, mhm,
This
mm,
is not logical. This is logic. Logic. This is eros,
mhm.
love, action. And we're not taught to bow to that. And so
No.
often we're misled. We're misled. I think, therefore I am. What about I feel, therefore I am?
Isn't that interesting? I feel, therefore I am. How many times has your head gotten you in trouble? Because you're thinking about something and then screwing your own self up. Thanks, Annette. I love that. You always come through with such wonderful, wonderful comments. And if we stayed in our heart, our love, about what we really feel about something, what we really know about something, because so many times I know that in my younger days, I would think about what is everybody else thinking about? If I do X, Y, and Z, what do they think about me? So many times that's what we do. Our parents want us to go into a certain profession, but in your heart you want to do something else. And so we want to please everyone, or either we just go off with such anger and defiance that we can screw up a relationship or even screw up what we're wanting to do instead of just getting into our heart, into our feelings. What do we want? Who are we really? You can't think who you are. You gotta know who you are. And if you don't know, take the time to find out. That is not unusual. We get so busy doing, being for everybody else that we often don't take the time to do and be for ourselves, which actually makes us more available to others. Isn't that interesting? I, the concept of what Siri is saying is such a Western way of our thinking in our mind. There are so many cultures who start here first, start in love. They're in their heart chakra, which is the most powerful chakra other than, well, our third eye and here, what we have. Because it's about loving our lives, doing what we love. That's what we're here to do. Our brains are very helpful to help us um, think of how we can get through an issue, a problem, to think through that. Brains are very good. And we want directions. We got to have it in our mind of how we read a map, how we read that GPS app we've got. But in our hearts tells us more about who we are, about what we want. And that has a lot to do with asking from your heart of healing ourselves. A dear friend of mine, Wendy Hammers. Wendy is a brilliant woman. She found out she had pancreatic cancer. 87% on the low side survived that cancer. Wendy changed her attitude. She had to fix her attitude about how she was going to deal with this cancer. She came from her heart because her brain was about to mess her up. and make her just hold on to the fact that 87% on the minimum die from this disease. So how can you think through of how I can think through life and think through death of what I'm going to do? But when she fell into her heart, knowing what she wanted, knowing that she had to make friends with this disease and see what it was here to teach her, it made a difference.
So I always say to people, it's not that I'm so courageous or bright or brave. I just literally knew myself well enough to know I did not have the physical, spiritual, emotional, or psychological bandwidth to consider living and dying. So I just picked living and hoped I was right. That's what I did. And I could have been wrong, but that didn't matter because I believe our thoughts control so much, and my body needed to be strengthened, and that my immune system was strengthened by my positive attitude. So it all went hand in hand. I think that, I did all the Western stuff. I did chemo, I did surgery, I did a lot of Eastern stuff, but I really do think the mindset, because I know a lot of other people who, unfortunately, very tragically, did the exact same protocol I did, the same drugs and the same surgery, and they're no longer here above ground. So what is the missing piece? What is the X factor? And to me, it's mindset, it's attitude, and it's not a guarantee of anything, but not having it is a guarantee it won't go well. If you have a bad attitude and you don't want to be here, you're not going to be here. That's what I believe.
You see that? What she did was she took her thoughts and she switched them. She took control of her attitude. She wasn't going to let herself go down the friggin' rabbit hole of the fear of that C word. That's the same thing we can apply to our lives when we're healthy. I was talking about at times in my life when I have not worked. Oh my goodness, where am I going to find work? What am I going to do? If I just calmly sit, quiet myself, think about the next step, not way over there, but think about the next step to take. That next step leads me to another step, leads me to another step, leads to a phone call that comes out of seemingly nowhere. We have a choice in our lives. Wendy talks about using it for her cancer, and I wanted to use that extreme, but I'm also bringing it back to using it for what we do in our daily lives of what we want. What do you want in your life? How do you want your vision to be made possible? What does it look like for you? And know that what it looks like may not be the end result of what it is. What does it feel like? And look and see what comes up for you. I had Angela Gibbs and Stephanie Spruill on. They were the two sisters who worked with me on the Michael biopic. Stephanie was the vocal coach. Angela was Jafar, older Michael's coach, and I was younger Michael's coach. And we got into a conversation about, yes, you put out the vision of what you want. You put out your dreams. You may even write down, I want to be a great singer. I want to be a great dancer. I want to be a great actor. I want to surpass Denzel. I want to surpass Viola. I want to do this. I want to do that. But you know what? Delusions of grandeur do not service you, baby. So not all of those visions in that way will become true, but what will become true of your vision is what you want to give to the world. It's how you feel about certain jobs that you get. Things that come easy to you, you may look past that and want to go and get something that seems unattainable, because it's really not what is meant for you, and it's really not what is in your spirit to have. Maybe that easy thing is what it is for you. Change your thinking. Come from joy. Come from, you can have everything you want. Stay in a positive place. Stay in love. Stay in joy. Journal. Meditate, baby. Sometimes silence I would say all the time silence is very powerful. And see what it brings to you. And never stop. Now, I will tell you, I like to work my thumb sometimes and watch television and sit back on our bed, and prop up, and oh, it's wonderful. But not every day. I want to get up and get going. Look at the world. See what I can create. I have a plan. Work my plan. And know that as you take your happy ass, like my dad used to say, you take your happy ass down that road, that sometimes there are turns you aren't expecting that might lead you to a greater gift than what you're thinking. And I know disappointment comes, and I know sometimes it's hard. And our next guest who was with us, Stephen, spoke about many things. And as a manager, he has seen anger and envy get in the way of where you want to go. There was a gentleman 2 years ago who was an audience member of my podcast with Phil. And Phil was with me. And he talked about how he was mad that he had had experiences where people at his job had taken his ideas. They took his ideas. And this is what I do believe. If an idea comes to you, baby, flush that sucker out and get it out there. Because if you don't, someone else will come along and that idea will go right to them. And know this, no one can steal anything from you. Now, of course, there are those legal issues that come up, so I'm not talking about those. But no one can steal your idea, take your part, take your job, because if it is meant for you, it's going to be there for you. So know who you are. Know what your talents are. Know what lies for you.
Anger is a demon in a way, it's an indicator, but you can't stay with it too long. There's certain feelings you have that are meant to be weather vanes. What's the new direction I need to go in to get past this? Envy is another one. You have to examine yourself, your heart. People can spend their entire lives envious of other people to the point where they will work to destroy them without doing a bloody thing to uplift themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
The movie Mozart is about that with
Mm-hmm.
Salieri,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing his own inferiority of gifts, and rather than exalting someone else's, had to spend his rest of his life destroying that person.
Mm.
People do that. But so there's a lot to learn about what is inside of us as people, and what is allowed, what we have to learn from it, and what we have to master.
Mm-hmm. You hear that? What is inside of us? To learn what is inside of us. Learning yourself. What is it that you have that you need to master? You need to learn more about that talent that you have, because all of us are special. All of us are truly a snowflake. All of us are unique. Sure, you might see someone who looks like you, or somebody might tell you, hey, that person walks like you, they even sound like you, but baby, they are not you. With all of this, we have to, okay, I'm just going to say it. We have to know us, know who we are, so we can operate in this world freely, just being me, just being you. Wendy chose. She knows her strength as a human being. She knows she's a loving person. She knows she wants to be her. Her son, right at the time she found out about her cancer, her son had just gotten to college. She wanted to be here for his graduation. She also jokingly said, I want to be here 20 more years to annoy my husband. She can't do that if she's sitting there in anger at this cancer, envious of those who are healthy. She can't do that if she's in fear, casting no aspersions on anyone, because I have not had cancer. So I've never faced life or death. What I'm offering is the thought of doing something different, of coming from a more joyful place. Wendy took, what did they call it? The cancer? No, no, no. The chemo ward. She and her girlfriend called it the chemo lounge. So her husband would drop her off. Her girlfriend would meet her there, and if Wendy felt like she wanted to go to Hawaii, she'd be wearing a Hawaiian dress, and she'd bring her music. She talked about dancing to Pharrell's "Happy," and the nurses would be dancing with her while she was there for 8 hours getting her cancer. That has kept her cancer free. That has put her into remission. She said the drugs worked. She got the drugs, she got the chemo, she got everything else she's supposed to do. She did it, the protocol. Other people did it, and they're not here. She says the only difference is she came from a different place of how she thought about her cancer, what it had to teach her about love and about life. Stephen's talking about don't be in that angry place, baby. Don't be in that envious place, baby. Don't be in that jealous place, baby. If you see somebody who has what you think you have, watch them. Learn from them. One of my older mentors told me years ago when my husband and I were just dating. We went to go see this one woman show, and this woman was fabulous. She had 3 percussionists with her. My husband's a percussionist, so he really wanted to go for that reason. Well, honey, that woman at one point ran up on the side of the wall, turned around, put her hands on the floor, her feet up, and started undulating. That man couldn't hold my hand. She got his attention. And the night did not go well because he was all about her. I was so upset. It just so happened I was having lunch with a mature friend of mine later on, and we had a 3-hour lunch, and at the end of it, when we were walking to our cars, I break down and tell her, blah, blah, blah. He saw this woman, and she did this, and I could tell he was just really into her. And she said, use her, baby. Watch her. What was attractive about her? What was interesting about her? Is there something you can learn? Talk to him about it. Make it okay. Let him know she's beautiful. Because you did think she was too, didn't you? Yes, I did. And then watch it go away. Sure enough, first my husband was like, wait a minute, where is she going with this? But as we talked, she went away and I became brighter in his eyes. What attracted you, baby? What was it? You liked that, huh? I mean, it made all the difference in the world. I got out of my anger and got into who I am, my power. And then also what I saw that she had, that maybe I can learn a little something from that saucy chick over there. And I sure did, baby. That's what we've got to do. Instead of having the anger of something didn't work out or somebody's getting in my way. What can you learn about them? Do they work harder than you do? Do they study harder? Do they read more? Do they know another language? Are they better at figuring out things? Can you meet with them and ask them to share with you just some techniques they have that maybe they want to share so that you can grow? Check that out. And then as Stephen went on, he talked about how so many times things in life don't go right. That's what I'm saying, huh? And we don't know how to handle. Well, you know what? Let me just let Stephen say it because I think he says it much better than me.
I think all strength comes from resistance. Nobody learns how to walk by being carried.
That's right.
You got to do the work. And you're going to wind up skinning your knees and your elbows and maybe even bust your lip. And you run to your mama, but the mama or your daddy puts you back on the floor and says, you keep going. So, where do we think that with these lessons that we learned from the minute we got onto the earth, that things are going to be any different when we get older? It's not. You just learn, you have more strength than you did then, and you learned to cope with things. I mean, it's amazing. We talk about loss. The first time you experience loss, it seems like the bottom of the world falls out.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that it gets easier to deal with it, but you have some sense as you experience life that you will survive.
Mhm.
Uh, However difficult that journey may be, you know that somewhere through that darkness you'll come out on the other side.
Mhm. Anger. Um, you didn't get what you wanted. Loss of a loved one. Someone even breaking up with you, kind of loss. All these things. You've overslept. You've missed a meeting. All of these terrible things that happen to us. And we always think when we can't handle it, but we can. We forgive ourselves and keep it moving. We've got to do the work. It never ends, you guys. Even when you are retired, it does not end. Living requires sometimes pain, and we learn from that. It also gives us so much joy, truly so much love, if we so desire to see it, because it's all around each and every one of us. It's so funny. My Steve and I also spoke about how when you ride a bike, when you first are put on a bike, you fall. If you didn't, lucky you. But most of us fell down and skinned our knees, or most of us fell down or hurt our head. Most of us fell down, might have broken a doggone arm. But our parents, each one of us, put us back on that doggone bike and said, "Go." And that's how we learned. You're surfboarding, guaranteed very few are going to get on that board the first time and ride that wave. Bowling, oh my God, gutter ball, pay attention. If you ever play caroms like I did, it's like playing pool, pay attention. Falling in love, it's not working. What are you learning? Who's the constant in that? You are. So, what can you learn about yourself and about your choices and about the way you're behaving? So that maybe you can leave yourself open and make a better choice. As we get older, we're always learning. And what I said about retirement, I can't tell you how many people have told me, especially men, about how hard it is not to get up and go to work in the morning, or thinking about what am I going to do today? How about what can I do today? What do I get to do today? How about having patience and knowing that you will find your flow within the day? Siri Sat Nam wanted to share something else. Now, Siri's video for better play this time.
I think the key, though, that you just brought in that I honor and that the musician also honored, we obey. See,
Mm-hmm.
everybody hears. Everybody hears. They may listen, but everybody doesn't obey. I've learned not to disobey because that is going to cause me some suffering down the
Oh,
road.
baby.
I've learned. I've learned.
Yes.
We all have challenges and sometimes real problems. But when you're in relationship with that divinity, that divine voice, there's nothing you can't solve. There's no problem that cannot be resolved. And it's always in moments like that when I, through my limited self, know I don't know how to get myself out of this mess.
Mm.
That's really slow down, even stop to hear the word. And it's always been resolved. I've been in a lot of messes just like everybody else, like where it's like, it's no way out.
I'm waving at people over here on Instagram. Did you hear that? It goes back to what Siri was talking about, to include this as well. about the heart, listening to yourself. What he's talking about is that divine voice, that inner voice that is always right. You know, that one who, when you're walking out the door, says, go back and get such and such because it's going to rain, or just there's an inkling of something, you know, you left something at home, you know, you left before you leave, there's something you forgot. Oh, well, no, I've got everything. And then halfway through the day, you go, oh, crap, I left X, Y, and Z at home. I listen to that voice most of the time now, but I will tell you one time I didn't listen to it. So I'm in Atlanta staying at my friend's house where I live when I'm doing Beyond the Gates, when I'm working on Beyond the Gates. And I couldn't find the key to the house, nor the key, gate opener. Couldn't find it. I was panicked. Uber's outside waiting to take me to the set, and my friend is out of town. I'm looking, and something says to me, look under the doormat. And I say to that something, I didn't put it under the doormat. The last time I saw it, it was right here on the counter. Finally, I had to go out another way where I could lock up the house so I could leave. And then I let her know, baby, I'm so sorry I can't find the key. She goes, oops, I left it under the doormat. Now I should know better. That's a little thing. But it's indicative of those voices that talk to us. That's our inner, that divine voice that is communicating with us always, at all times, telling you to call someone, telling you to make a left instead of a right. You know it's the wrong way, but I promise you, if you make that left instead of that right, you don't know what you may find. I found an apartment one time by listening to that voice. I was supposed to go straight. The voice said make a left. I made a left. This man was halfway down the block, was standing outside the block, outside his apartment like he was waiting for me. I pull up. I lived there for several years. You just never know. The voice says for you to say something when you're in conversation with someone, and your mind gets in the way of saying, no, say this instead. The voice was right. The voice has never been wrong in my life. And I think in most of our lives, it isn't wrong. Again, it goes back to the heart. Again, it goes back to what Wendy was saying about what's your attitude, baby? Keep it in love. Keep it in joy. Keep it in positivity. It goes back to Stephen talking about anger, envy, that blocks your blessings. Your blessings. We come here alone, and we will die alone. Even if we're with a bunch of people, you're still alone. So who do you really need to know in this world, on this journey? You. That's where all your love flows from. That's where all of your energy flows from, out to the world, to others. Let it flow out to them. You know, I'm always talking a lot about on this show how your best friend is staring you right back in the mirror. Holler. Yes, he, she, they, them are looking right back at you, baby. And the moment you love that person, not in an egotistical way, you appreciate that person. You know that person is good. You go out of your way to be that authentic person. Sometimes loud and crazy, and sometimes quiet and introverted, whatever it is, that is you. It's perfect. And it's you. And it's wonderful. Keeps you human. What you say, Miss Frances Cheever? I'm listening with an open heart and mind on my new great adventure because the vision is possible. Yes, it is gorgeous. It definitely is. I want to close with one of the things. Now, I still got a couple of more things from them because, like I ask everyone to give their closing statement, but I just want to have Wendy share this with you because this is something that I'm also always talking about.
I remember once walking down the street. I can't remember if it was New York or Los Angeles, but I smiled at somebody and they said, "Oh, do I know you?" I said, "No." They go, "Oh, but you smiled at me." I'm like, "Because you're another human being." And I was making a connection. It was so foreign to them that a stranger would smile at them. They didn't quite know what to do with it. I kind of threw them. They went, "Oh, okay. I'll smile now too." It's very strange. So we have to remind each other how to be human, right? We have these
Yes.
moments. We need to do
Yes.
that.
I so talk about that a lot in the elevator, smiling people. I say, hello, have a good day. How's your day going? I was in the elevator once, it was packed, and I said, isn't it crazy how you get in an elevator and everybody's just looking away from each other? They started laughing. They were like, yeah. I said, yeah. I said, hello, how are you? Hi, how are you? Oh, yeah. all, all of that. I am constantly walking down the street and I smile at people or I say hello to them and I don't know them. And they're like, oh, hello, good morning. And you'd be surprised on that one person you might say hello to who really needed a hello. You'll be surprised at those people. Oh, hello. let's get back into being human. Let's get back into being connection. Let's get back. Let's get out of this little box that I am in that doesn't include you. So I'm not going to speak to you because I'm doing my thing. And sometimes we are in our thoughts and we're in our feelings about something that has nothing to do with anyone else we are running into on the street, and we may not be in the mood to say hello. But if you can be in the mood to say hello more times than not, I know you'll make your day. And you may make someone else's day too. So don't forget, we are here together. We are here on this planet together. And there are forces right now who are trying to put us in fear against each other. You don't look like me, I'm afraid of you. I don't know you, you're a stranger, I'm afraid of you. If you believe in a higher spirit, be it Buddha, God, whatever it is that you believe, whether you are of an Arab faith or Jewish faith, whatever faith you are, even if you are an atheist, you believe in something if it's only yourself. We are all different colors of skin, hair textures, nationalities, the way we speak, different languages, different foods. We are all here on this planet together, and it is purposeful. It's a gift. If we all looked the same, it would be quite boring and a drag. If we all cooked the same food, it'd be quite boring and a drag. If we all spoke the same language, our differences are really our strength. And if you believe as I believe, let's hold on to that. Let's remember that. Let's stay in joy and love of our fellow human being. And remember, without you, there is no me. Without me, there is no you. So in closing, I want to share with you each one of my wonderful previous guests' ending statements.
Yeah, I would just say I'd love to just remind everybody to love themselves and to appreciate who and what they are. And every single person has been filled with all kinds of gifts. And it's important to recognize that, I mean, there's no such thing as an ordinary person. Everybody's extraordinary.
Mm-hmm. Everybody is extraordinary.
Everything is one day at a time and one moment at a time. So if something seems wonderful and joyful, celebrate it. And if something seems awful and overwhelming, it's going to pass. So don't worry about it so much. And I did hear something really funny a couple years ago. And for whatever reason, this time of year always makes me think about it, because a lot of us worry about our bodies and our health and all of this. And it was a personal trainer. And he said, people seem to worry about what they eat between Halloween and New Year's Day. He said it'd be better if they worried about what they ate between New Year's Day and Halloween, meaning we have this whole year ahead of us. And who is going to be the architect of the year? Who's going to carve it out? Who's going to make decisions on a daily basis? What will it add to our lives? It's us. Nobody else runs that show. I mean, you can have a God or a higher power that you ask for guidance and help, but at the end of the day, somebody puts on the running shoes and says, I'm going for a walk, and somebody says, I'm going to have a good attitude today, and I'm going to get out of bed and brush my teeth and make a list and enjoy my day and live my life.
Ha ha ha.
Life is a gift. Life is an opportunity to be conscious. And now we're conscious. And the goal, of course, is to elevate that consciousness so that you can live to your highest destiny, to erode the memories of things that have negatively impacted us, to cleanse our unconscious so that our conscious mind can merge with that superconscious mind and we can just live freely, carefree. Wouldn't that be the goal? To live carefree, free of care, free, carefree. Yes.
Can you just sit with everything they shared? Does any of that resonate with you? Because a lot of it really resonates with me. You are extraordinary. There is no one like you in the world. I don't care who you look like, or sound like, or walk like, or what sign you are, and how similar you may be to someone you know or work with. There is nobody like you, baby. In this life, whatever you want, it is possible. Oh, will it come to you as you see it? It may not. But it will come to you as your heart desires. And if you give time to know your heart, who you are, you magnificent motherfucker, you wonderful, what you desire will be there. It's you do you. Stumble along the way if you're young and you don't find your way. Or stumble along the way if you are older, mature, and you just have never given yourself permission. I give you permission. I want you to be you, because you, being you, makes our world a much, much better place. So, my darlings, here's where you can find me. Iona Lot of Gold. Woo! Holla now. You can reach me on Instagram and Facebook. And also, I've got to put my website for Visually Possible up here. And where you can watch me, and I hope you come and you join and you subscribe to my YouTube channel. youtube.com/@the vision is possible. Oh, yeah. And here's where you can find the show. Woo! See that at the top? You are magic. And you are. So I'm very glad to have had you guys with me. This is one of my smorgasbord kind of shows, a compilation of previous guests who I loved, who brought wisdom to us, who set us off on our Wednesday on Vision is Possible, confirming for us through their life they have lived that your vision is possible. And even if you preach one vision or two visions, you're serious here on the planet, maybe you got more to do. So, I'll see you next Wednesday, right here on Vision is Possible, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm sending you love and light. Have a great week.